In backing Liz Warren and Amy Klobuchar, the New York Times rejected toxic masculinity, as we all should. Do we even have to? Like, do we even have to go into... I am so exhausted. All my years, like, screaming about these, like, ID poll feminists, it was all training. It was all training for this primary to be the ultimate Bernie Sanders white knight. Toxic masculinity isn't about how society teaches men not to cry and shit. No. Toxic masculinity is when you vote for a man instead of a woman. It's not about women or men. It's about a feminine way of approaching politics that politicians of all stripes have shown, including Andrew Yang, calling Andrew Yang feminine. He has a feminine approach to politics. Isn't there like a racist stereotype that like Asian men are feminine? On Tuesday, the New York Times editorial board released an op-ed titled "Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren are Democrats' top choices for president." So I did a video about this. If you haven't seen it, I'll put the link down below. The unusual choice seemed more of an endorsement for women in general than either one of them in particular. See, even the freaking Independent can see right through it. I've chosen to accept this as mainstream media's acknowledgement of the rise of the divine feminine. Yo, what the fuck? The divine feminine is beyond that binary. Best understood as the energetic force of nurturing. Plenty of male-identifying individuals are in touch with this force, although women tend to be more likely to find their strength in the divine feminine, in part because of the way society commodifies the stereotypical responsibilities of sitcom motherhood, such as cooking, always being the one to remember when to buy toilet paper, and giving birth. Well, giving birth isn't a stereotype. We are living in an oligarchy surrounded by the hierarchy of white supremacist patriarchy. And this is where toxic masculinity has led us, into the greedy depths of a ruthless individualism that only benefits those at the top. 10% of the United States citizens control 76% of the country's wealth. The 6 wealthiest people in the country own as much as the bottom 50%. That's not toxic masculinity. That's just a critique of, like, capitalism. The most important way to see our deep need for the divine feminine is in the shape of our economic and justice systems. American greed is sustained by the corruption. Okay, like, yes, I agree with this, but she's talking about healthcare being, like, a human right, blah, 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 the military-industrial complex, okay, like, I'm on board with all of this, but are you gonna link it to toxic masculinity anytime soon? The shift to policies guided by unconditional love for the collective are also on offer from Bernie Sanders, and in Andrew Yang's instance, on public policy aimed at developing happiness. I have made it clear that my heart beats for Elizabeth Warren, although I think Warren and Sanders insist on equitable public power in a way that can further inspire the political awakening movement. For any self-identified Bernie bros reading this, I would note that I would be excited to support either Warren or Sanders in the general. P.S. Please don't harass me. Shut the fuck. What are these ads? The anti-snoring device. God. Does it help you not breathe? Is it an ad for something that will stop me from breathing? Because I would like that. That said, I think it makes a difference if the person at the helm of this transformation is a woman. Because of the lessons learned by anyone who has a female perspective on our crisis of toxic masculinity, the same could be more extensively discussed in terms of race in this election. If the Democratic Party weren't embarrassing themselves with not even a single black or brown candidate. Okay, so I thought I was about to agree. The Democratic Party is embarrassing themselves. It's ridiculous to assert that gender and race don't matter in a society that is defined by its systematic oppression of those characteristics. As Brittany Cooper wrote in regard to Bernie Sanders' identity, being progressive doesn't mean that one's race or gender ceases to matter. Like, yes, that is, yes, it's about who, oh my god, I swear to god, all my videos, oh my, boom, it doesn't matter what race or gender the candidate is, as long as their policies is good, shut the fuck up. Representation is not everything. Okay, end of article again. I don't know that I can thank Margaret Thatcher for anything other, okay, yes, true, Okay, she gets it. She gets that it doesn't matter. As the daughter of a father... I feel compelled to honor the divine masculine. I am closely in touch with mine. The divine masculine is best understood as an energetic force that is assertive and pragmatic. The divine masculine protects you and gets shit done. Elizabeth Warren has tons of that energy. What is this? Isn't that, like, in a way, sort of sexist? Like, oh yeah, masculinity gets shit done. The problem with masculinity is when it occurs as its shadow part, toxic masculinity. And of course we see the most grotesque manifestation of this sickness in the form of that demonic sweet potato the demonic sweet potato who keeps us on the verge. Oh, Trump! Oh, Orange Man! How could I forget? Who keeps us on the verge of World War III because he cannot handle his own insecurity, which would be embarrassing if our lives weren't at stake. I don't think it's about his insecurity, man. I think it's a little deeper than that. I think it's the military-industrial complex getting their claws in. Why would they choose this picture of poor Bernie trying to hear? And like all these dynamic pictures of like Biden and Elizabeth. Oh my god, she's like reaching out. Vibe check. I think a woman is our best bet at beating that. Yeah, Tulsi. Pick Tulsi. I think using feminine pronouns for the most powerful person in the world could help correct our overriding tendency towards the toxic masculine. Oh my god, this is literally like more female drone piles. More female dictators. Watch like the first, like in like 100 years, like the first like actual dictator in America will be a woman. In my humble opinion, the divine feminine will likely continue to rise and ultimately defeat the white supremacist patriarchy no matter what. But it would certainly help the process along if our transformation is led by our first chance at the concept of a Madame President. Does anyone agree with this in my audience? Would it be cool one day to have a female president? Sure, and I think it's going to happen one day. Like I said, I think it will be a Republican, but like, yeah, like when Hillary was running, I was like, my mom was like, oh, it's gonna be cool to have a woman president, vote for Hillary because she's a woman, like that was her whole thing. And I'm just like, yeah, like, I mean, it would be neat, but does it have to be Hillary? Like, why can't it be an actual good person? But yeah, there are definitely women who could lead our country and do an amazing job at it. Warren, Klobuchar, Kamala, no. I'm sorry, no. It's gonna be a no from me, dog.